What is up, Fabrication Nation? So the goal today is try to get some brakes on the car. So I'm gonna try to get the brakes on the Goose. I've got the fender kind of mocked up right now. I gotta finish up the exhaust. I need the fender on there. I just got that skinny on there just to kind of see if it'll clear. The new brakes I'm gonna run, that thing actually won't clear. I'm gonna have to run some spacers, which means that I'm probably gonna build custom lower A-arms for this car, so stay tuned for that, just to set them in a little bit. Got the back brakes sitting on the car. All these things have been sitting for so long that they're just weathered and rusty, and the aluminum's oxidized. Gonna try to clean them up today, get them back on the car, get all the brakes pretty much done, and I don't know, maybe get some tires on this thing. Got those Mickey Thompsons over there. Things are old, but oldies but goodies. I have been working on the Dually some. So I've got the dash out of it. This one's got some cracks in it. There and there and there. And I've painted the gauge bezel. So there's a silver paint. Painted that black, this black. And I've got some carpet to go back in the truck from LMC truck. Went back with black carpet. Gonna go with a gray dash. I've actually ordered another one of these. And these things ain't cheap, man. They really like these things a lot. It's like 300 bucks for just this dash. So anyway, I feel like those two things are really the only things that are really kind of holding the truck back. So it's 300 bucks, but it's gonna kind of take it to that next level. I think you open the door, it's gonna go a new truck in there, and that's what I want. So anyway, new dash, new carpet, painted the gauge bezel. Gotta fix some stereo stuff, get the stereo installed. But as you can see, I mean, nothing on this truck is in real bad shape. I mean, I ordered a couple of these locks. The little plastic pieces had broke off previously. Door panels look pretty good. May make some kind of panel to go over that there. This is normally where there's like a bag that goes on this thing. You can see on these seats here, this is all black, so I think that black carpet's just going to tie in really nice with this here. It'll kind of hide the floor mats too. You won't be able to see those. They won't pop like they do right now. And while I got these trim bezels off the carpet, I'll probably like scuff these and maybe put some of that Eastwood diamond clear on those, just to help them maintain that kind of brushed aluminum look. So what else have I done? Let's see. Really, that's it. I mean, this truck didn't really need much. Like I said, I came in here and I painted the column, so it was black, but it had like nicks and scratches and stuff from over the years. I just kind of taped everything off, painted that, and rebrushed all these arms for the gear shift and the blinkers. Really, the only thing that this thing's really gonna need is new gauges. So I've been looking on Dakota Digital. Dakota Digital makes gauges for these trucks. It's a complete whole new deal. They're top of the line gauges with top of the line sensors, and they're just really good stuff. The problem is they're like almost 800 bucks. And like the dash, that would really set this truck off. But I think for now I might try to kind of just put a little lipstick on it. You know that I've talked about painting the hands in some of my previous videos, like I did on the Black Pearl. May do that on this one. Just repaint these orange hands in here to kind of make them look new, and just kind of maybe try to fix the ones that aren't working. If I can get them fixed, I'll be good with the factory ones. I actually like the factory look a lot, hence the old mirrors, and just gives it character. Oh, let me show you too. One last thing on the truck. So, like I had alluded to in a previous video, this truck has an LT1 set up in it. It did have a little header leak, so I replaced the header gasket on it, and then I just tried to clean up some of the aluminum panels in here, tubes and stuff, just brushed them, gonna coat them. You can see this induction pipe. I've just kind of took Scotch-Brite to it, and this elbow, took it to the valve covers a little bit, and then while I had the headers laid back, and you can't really see it because it's starting to get dark, but while I had the headers laid back, I actually coated those with some high temp paint as well, so they're looking much better, both sides. And just like the carpet bezels, I'll probably take all these aluminum pieces off, coat those also with some of that Eastwood Diamond Clear. That stuff's great. It'll like just make it last. This stuff I think withstands up to like 300 degrees, so it'll be great on the engine. Gonna do it on the Goose also. Anyway, that's it for this thing. So let me explain the brake issue really quick. The skinnies won't clear the caliper basically, and the reason they won't is because this caliper, so let me back up a little bit. I'm running Aerospace brakes on this car mainly because I had them. They're pretty good brakes. There's a lot of good brake systems out there for the Fox bodies along with everything else. Willwood, Aerospace, I think Strange has their own setup now. But anyway, I've had this setup for a long time. There's no sense in switching to a different brand now when I've already got them. I think these will work pretty good. The reason that the skinnies won't clear this is because of the brake caliper itself. Over the years, I've done some trading and swapping, and I'm actually going to be going with a vented rotor. So this is a steel vented rotor. This car originally had the Aerospace race brakes on it, which is not a vented rotor. The problem is for street driving, they're likely to warp. So I decided when I was going to basically put this thing on 100% street duty, other than just a little bit of the track time that it will see, I figured I better go with a vented rotor. Did some trading, and when you do the vented rotor, the caliper itself has to be thicker. And so that's what they've done. They basically put the spacer in here. It takes their standard caliper, makes it a little bit thicker. So this here is their standard caliper, and this is what I used to have on the front of this car. You can see about how wide it is. It's made in two pieces, two billet pieces. And I'm assuming from an engineering standpoint, they basically just machine the same pieces all the time. And when they use a vented rotor, they basically take the same machine pieces and they just separate them with these little sections in between to make it a little bit wider. So basically that's what happens. It pushes, it still mounts in the same location, but this little piece in the center basically pushes this outer section out, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or whatever this is. And what I'll end up doing is running like a 3/4 inch spacer on the front when I have drag lights on, and when I don't have the skinnies on. This car will probably end up with like a set of 18s on it. When I don't have those on, I won't run the spacer. I'll actually let those things sit in. The rear end on this car has been narrowed 1.5 inches on each side. And so it could probably use a shorter A-arm on the front to bring it in a little bit to kind of make it match what's on the back. And then that way too I can run like the 04-ish wheels and tires for the 04 Mustangs, because that track width is about the same as this car. And it'll work. I can run the nice 18s, the later model stuff. I don't have to stick with the Fox body stuff. And they'll look really good on this setup, especially the way that they sit, because I've got the rear end narrowed. I'm going to narrow the front end a little bit. The only concern that I've got really is just getting in the frame rail when I turn. So I don't want to, I don't want to bring it in too much. But other than that, I should be good. Like I said, just run that 3/4 inch space for the drag lights. It should set the wheel just right once I narrow it. And then when I run the aftermarket wheels, they'll already be set up for that track width. So anyway, let's get it putting these things on.
I've been through some struggle and never asked for a handout. I try to be the best I can be, but that plan never pans out. I'm on the road to some riches. They tell me, bro, you gon' make it, but what if I don't believe it? I'm trying to find with my faith. When I pray to God that he's near me, I pray so hard that he hears me, but sometimes he don't respond. It makes me feel he don't feel me. I feel some fear and some fury. It's like I'm scared and I'm pissed. Is this what you call it life? If so, then life's a bitch. Bitch.
Staring like my destiny is topless. Focus level super saiyan, I'm locked in. Even death couldn't turn my heart rotten. A man's man, just like my pops is. The hustle comes standard, cause hustle's not an option. The world is a cake and I'm on top like I'm toppings. The devil keeps knocking cause the devil is obnoxious. If I get knocked down, I get back up, I'm not stopping.
Man, I've been there before. I had my head to the flow, so I know just how you feel when shit don't go how you want. I swear you gotta believe it before you can see it. Prepare, cause people will doubt you and friends will start disappearing. That's why I'm hungry for life. Work through the day with no sleep and hustle all fucking night until my family can eat. I prayed and prayed every day, then my purpose was clear. That's when I stepped to the plate and show the world that I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Got the rear brakes on. I think I'm gonna hold off on the fronts. I got them all put together and cleaned up, but if I'm gonna make a different A-arm for the front, there's no sense in putting the brakes on. Plus, I think what I'm gonna do is may put some speed wire on the back of these, on these bolts, just to be on the safe side. So take care of that. Build the A-arms. I gotta take some measurements so I can source parts for them things. Get those built, put on, brakes on, bleed everything. I've been running the engine a good bit here lately. Found a couple little problems. Found a tiny bit of coolant coming out from underneath the water pump. I think I just didn't have it tightened down. A lot of times what I'll do is when I'm putting them together, I'll kind of snug it up and let the silicone dry before I really snug it, really tighten it down, and I don't think I ever tightened it. So I tightened it up. Hopefully that'll fix it. And a little bit of oil was coming out, around the oil pan up front. And it only happened when I would run the motor, so I don't know if it's splashing. There was like a little gap, so I got in there, tightened the oil pan up a little bit. Hopefully it'll pull up around that seal and I won't have any more issues with it. Other than that, that's really the only thing. I had a couple little problems with air pockets, and for whatever reason, my odometer gauge is reading like 10 degrees difference than the big stuff is reading. So I don't know if it's the gauge or the big stuff. I think it's the gauge. The last time I ran it, I was watching the gauge and the big stuff. I had the computer up watching the big stuff too, and I was hitting the cylinder heads with one of these bad boys. Tells you the temperature, 74 degrees. So I was just kind of hitting the front of the cylinder head as it was running, and the temperatures I was getting on the front of the cylinder head matched what the big stuff was saying. So I think the gauge is bad, which is weird because I've never really seen Autometer have issues with their gauges, but at least I know. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna send it back or just let it roll knowing that it's like 10 degrees off. Things that still need to be done. Well, one of the things I took care of already was the overflow for the radiator. So I didn't have anything up here for like an overflow, and I didn't have a catch either. So made that, and it just basically comes down, mounts right there. It's a nice little overflow canister, and got a little rubber seal on it. This was originally an expansion tank, and I just took and drilled a little hole in it so it'd vent out. The port for the tube on the from the radiator is on the bottom, so it'll work just kind of like an overflow does. I've also got my stuff for my cooler, my transmission cooler, so I gotta mount that. I'm gonna do push lock fittings up on the transmission itself, push lock hose, and then I'll just slip it on this cooler here and probably just use some hose clamps for that. Alright guys, that's all I got for you today. Making progress on the Grey Goose. Shouldn't be long, this thing should be on the ground. Gotta make transmission mount for it, I gotta mount the cooler, gotta order a drive shaft, gotta get a windshield, got a couple little things I need to do on the inside as far as the wiring, and then I can start putting the interior back in it. I'm sure you'll see an update in the future on this thing as I make some more progress. Gonna get on to the dually. Still trying to figure out a name for that thing. Got a lot of good ones. I think one of my favorites is probably the Fab Cab. I really like that name. The Fab Cab kind of fits it. So crew cab, Fab Cab, whatever. Anyway, gonna get back on that thing, throw the carpet in it, throw the dash in it, get the gauge bezel sorted out, stereo system going, and then just drive it. Clean it up, drive it. That's what that thing's for. Gonna enjoy it, put the family in it, and we're gonna go ride. Once that's done, I'll still be back and forth on this thing, but gonna start the Bibster very soon. So gonna bring the Bibster back over, lay it down. I gotta mount some tires on the wheels. I gotta order some chromoly. That whole thing is gonna be DOM chromoly, so I gotta get that ordered and start the process of getting it mocked up and start putting some stuff together and see where we're at on that thing. So stay tuned for that. If you've been looking out, or if you've been waiting for the Bibster, it's coming very, very soon. I want to get this thing ready for Mustang week. I think I'm gonna try to get down there with this. So I think that's pretty much it. I have one little touch of business I want to discuss with you guys. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Hustle Standard. I play a lot of his music here on the channel, mainly J. Kill and the Hustle Standard, which was an album that they did, and I play several of those songs on this channel all the time. I'm almost positive that a ton of you guys know exactly who he is and who I'm talking about. Anyway, he just released a new album with an artist named Our Boy Drew. It's basically focused on veterans and some of the issues that they have coming back from war and so forth. I encourage you guys to go check it out. I will drop a link in the description where you can find it. And go show him some love. Go buy the album if you like it. He's gracious enough to let me use some of his music, so I'm just trying to return the favor. So y'all go show him some love, let him know that you're there from the Fab Forums, and go get you some songs. There's some good stuff on there. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description. I think that's it. Y'all go do work, son.
Caught staring like my destiny is topless. Focus level Super Saiyan, I'm locked in. Even death couldn't turn my heart right. A man's man, just like my pops is. The hustle comes standard, cause hustle's not an option. The world